Happy Sabbath to all. Just hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's keeping the commandments of the Most High. I know it's been a long road trying to figure out the right path. I pray that the Almighty reveals to all similar as He's revealed to me. We all have lived in a world where doctrines of men have proliferated, and it's hard to tell what we need to do. It's hard to pick the right path. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that in error, men follow after men. The right path is to inquire of the Almighty and ask for His things and ask for His way and His understanding of all things. But so as a lot of people venture off this, trying to go back to the roots of the Torah, where they're trying to pick and grab for this fruit or that fruit, or trying to decide what to put in the basket. Isaiah 43 verse 18 and 19 says that we need to not remember the things of old, because He's going to do a new thing. New means separate from the old. It's going to be different than the old. Not that the Torah don't matter, because as the Messiah even said that the two greatest commandments, you shall love your God and your God only and serve Him, but then that you should love your neighbor. All the prophets in the law hang on those two. So to say that those things don't matter is false, but our understanding of them leads mankind astray. Where as much as He said a new covenant, as Paul said in Hebrews 8 verse 13, that the former things will pass away, or already have become obsolete. So the law, the sacrifices, it has become the old thing. Jesus said not try to stitch an old garment to a new garment, but you must take off the old first and put on the new. The wedding of Cana, it is all symbolic of the new covenant, that He took, the 6 water pots. These are vessels of the Almighty. These are ones that carried the word. I believe it to be representative of some prophets. But He put water into those vessels and then turned it into wine. And then the master of the feast actually said, no one brings out the new wine after the old. You bring out the good stuff first, and then when everybody's drunk, you drop back to the other stuff to where people don't notice it as much. But He also said that the new is better than the old. So it all has to do with covenant, doctrine, stitching the Torah onto the new covenant makes both useless. Now, people say, well, He hasn't um, that he hasn't put up the new covenant yet. That it hasn't yet been established. But the Torah was a foreshadow of things to come. It was everything that was done, everything that was said by Moses, everything that was given to the people, the Messiah came to fulfill. Case in point, before Moses came into the land, he went up on a high mountain, Mount Nebo, where God showed him the nation that Israel was to inhabit. Showed him all the lands, all the way to the sea. So this is the promise. And there Moses died. Then Joshua went in and conquered the south. Then David pushed it on up a little bit further, conquering the kingdom, but he didn't finish it. I mean, this is even said in the book of Joshua that he did not accomplish the full kingdom. So where did the Messiah go when he began teaching? Matthew 5. Okay, so before I get into that, where did he go when he got baptized? He went right into the wilderness. Was tempted by Satan immediately. What was one of the temptations? He took him up on a high place. It doesn't say exactly, where he took him, but he did the same thing that God did to Moses. So Satan said, "Here, I will give you all these kingdoms if you but bow down to me." And Messiah used exactly the same language spelled out in the Torah, saying, "You shall serve your God and your God only, and bow down to no one else." As soon as that happened, he fled. Satan left him, and then he began his ministry. But what you don't realize is that in the writing of the Ascension of Moses, which is quoted in Jude, by the way, the dispute between Satan and Michael, at the conclusion, it actually has that account where Moses was up on a high mountain, died, and as soon as he died, Samael, the slanderer, the wicked one, swooped in to take his body down to the people so that they might make it an idol. Well, during that whole dispute, he says, "I am the ruler of the material world, and the body is mine." So, with that being said, he is claiming authority. He's claiming rulership. Apparently, somewhere in the midst of it all, he was given authority. We can see that in the book of Job, where the father says to Satan, "Where have you been?" He said, "Walking to and fro." And he said, "Look at Job. You see how righteous he is, and how great he is, and he lacks nothing because he does my will." And Satan immediately said, "Well, if you take all of his things, he will surely curse you." He was given authority then to take his things, to take his physical things away. But he was not allowed to take his life. So we see that authority was given to Satan for a time, that he might, I guess, bring destruction upon the people. I mean, I'm not exactly sure on that. There's no biblical context except for what is in Revelation, um, as far as all that goes. But Michael would not allow Satan to take the body. Um, where he rebuked him, prayed to God. God sent thunder and lightning, and by that, Satan immediately fled. And then we see it comes full circle with the ministry of the Messiah when he goes into the wilderness and is tempted, and he rejects the authority of Satan. He says, I will not serve you. I'm going to serve my God and my God only. Later in Matthew 28, verse 18, he shows that he conquered everything and that all authority was given to the Messiah. So, as to the understanding of what was going on in Scripture, the Messiah came to fulfill all the law and the prophets. That everything that was said and taught would be completely fulfilled before he finished. And that when he died, he said, "It is done," and then gave up his soul. So that's what the main issue is understanding. So when he came back out of the wilderness, he crossed the Jordan, exactly where Joshua crossed, and he was on a mission. He was, um, Black Sheep Bible Talk um, has a pretty good video he put out yesterday that has a lot to do with this. But he came back as a warrior. Wow. He didn't actually come in to fight a literal battle, but he fought the spiritual battle and conquered the last kingdoms that stood, and I believe it to be a spiritual one. The things that were left were under the rulership of the wicked spirits. We can see that he cast out demons, and he didn't just come to do it, a little at a time. He came in full force, throwing them out. And what did he say? That the ruler of this world will be cast out. The ruler of this world, just like in the Ascension of Moses, where he says that, where Satan says that all authority, or all that is in the world is under him. And that is exactly what the apostles say, that all that is in the world is of the wicked one. I mean, that's in John's epistles. So, where Joshua came in to do a physical battle, the Messiah came in to do the spiritual battle. He said that Luke 17, verse 20 to 21, that the kingdom does not come with observation. The kingdom is within you. And he also said, to who overcomes and keeps my commandments, me and the Father will come and dwell with him. And that's John 14, well, yeah, John 14 and 15. I mean, it speaks all about that. Keeping his commandments and doing his will and doing what the Father's put out to do. But the mystery has yet to be revealed. of what exactly he was doing. So those who say that the new covenant has not been put in um, are are mistaken. So when Moses came to get the commandments from the Almighty, he went up on a high mountain, just the same way as the Messiah went up on a high mountain to give it to his apostles. And seeing the multitudes, he went up on a high mountain. This is Matthew 5. And when he was seated, his disciples came to him. And there he opened his mouth. Then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed is the poor in spirit, for the kingdom theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Those who are proudful in their understanding and their heritage and their tradition, what they were taught all their life, those are the rich. They're rich in understanding and trust in their own uh, understanding rather than asking for the truth. So those who are poor in spirit come to get more from the Lord of spirits. I mean, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. There's a image of one of the prophets saying that there's a man with a writer's inkhorn coming to mark those who cry out. But what was done in Israel or in Jerusalem, that's what is being said here. Those who mourn will be comforted. Blessed is the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. You know, the Almighty resists the proud. Plain and simple. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. You know, Messiah said that he was the bread of life, and that whoever does not eat his flesh or drink his blood shall not inherit the kingdom. And he wasn't speaking literal, he was speaking about the knowledge and understanding of the new covenant. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Jeremiah 31:34 says that no man shall teach his neighbor his brother, and um, those who enter in by this covenant, I will forgive their iniquity and remember it no more. It is complete mercy. Exodus 20:4-6 talks about worshiping idols, but the latter part of that is that he his judgment is for those who hate him to the third and fourth generation. But those who do his will and love him and keep his commandments, they will receive mercy. So, regardless if you failed, regardless if you've fallen, you will receive mercy, just as it's said here. Blessed is the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That's approaching the scriptures with a double mind, wanting to know so that you can bash others. That's strictly forbidden. You do not need to have a double mind. You want to do it for the purity of wisdom and understanding, which casts out wickedness. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. That's what the Messiah was talking about. Um, Anybody who wishes to strike you on the right side, shall give them the left side also. It is not for us to give out the wrath of God and our wrath. But whatever measure we measure to somebody else, we will be measured up also to that standard. If you forgive all and give mercy to all, regardless of what they have done or what they're about to do to you, you will also be shown mercy, and vengeance will be repaid on those who seek to harm you. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. That's what happened to the apostles. They were persecuted to no end. Same with the Messiah. He said, no one is greater than the master. He was the master of them. He was persecuted, so were they. It is the hardest thing to sit there and try to say that you're going to willingly give up your life when somebody comes in to attack you. Did not Matthew or Simon strike the ear of the servant of the priest? You want to fight. You want to do what is best to protect your life and the life of those around you. And that's easy to get into. Trust me. As a American citizen, the right to bear arms is something that I've always held near and dear. But to think about these commandments is to rethink the structure of everything that we have in our life. Blessed are they when they revile you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For they persecuted the prophets who were before you. That's what I'm saying. The prophets were called by the Almighty Himself to go and do the work that He wanted them to do. And they were persecuted and overcame and killed also, all the way down to those who rejected the Greeks in the book of Maccabees. So, that's the other part of it, is there are books that have been rejected and taken out for the sole purpose to confuse people. There's things in the scripture that it talks about. Without those books, we don't know where the reference came from. So we instantly, in our mind, hey, this hasn't happened yet. Let's attribute this to the future, and then we teach people to follow that, and that's where a lot of mistakes are made. But it was allowed to happen. It's not a judgment against your ability to understand anything. It's since the Garden of Eden, where Eve disobeyed the commandment of God Almighty and listened to the serpent. The serpent deceived her and said, hey, you're not going to surely die. You're just going to be smarter. You're going to know more. What's wrong with that? But in doing so, she listened to somebody else instead of the voice of God. That's where we need to get back to. That's where everything is going back to. Love your God Almighty with all your heart, mind, and soul, and serve Him only. How do we serve Him only if we're stuck in the doctrines of the world? Plain and simple. Return to the Almighty. Don't follow man. Don't follow my teachings. I'm just here to point the path back to the one who is all authority is given to. That He came to fulfill a certain thing, and He is the shepherd. We need to go to Him and gain understanding, and He will teach us where to go, teach us the things that we should look at. And every day that I do, I don't know where to go, and then all of a sudden He'll put a video up, or you will, I mean, he won't, but a video will pop up in a queue on YouTube speaking about some of the things, and their whole teaching may not be exactly correct, but they're stumbling onto something that is of the truth. And then the Spirit swoops in and says, hey, you see how this is? Now follow that on and follow the breadcrumbs. And that's how God speaks to you. It's not an audible voice, and I'm not sitting here with schizophrenia saying that I'm being taught by God and listening to this voice, because it's not an audible voice. It is things being put into your mind to guide you in the way that you should go. He sends the helper to kick you in your rear end to get your attention, like light bulbs popping off in your head. Um, that's the whole new covenant. I mean, if I'm able to receive this, you're able to receive this. You know, it's an amazing thing to know that there's things hidden in Scripture far beyond what mankind already knows. I'm not saying follow me. I'm saying go to the one who has authority. Go to the shepherd. He will teach you. And his shepherd hears his voice, and none shall come to the Father except through him. He is the way, the truth, and the life. So, with all that said, I am not drawing anybody out, and I'm not trying to mislead anybody. But this is the things that he said. And the grouping of texts. You see how it's got, I'm doing this on my phone because I'm out here, and it's so much easier to search certain things and flip from chapter to chapter, doing it digitally. And I don't care about the translation so much, because if you have the author of it all teaching you, you can't go wrong. So, where, yes, many things are in the language are lost when it is translated, but he's not going to allow you to miss out on those details. He will guide you back to where you need to be to learn that. So, this is what I'm saying. Listen to the Messiah. He's teaching the new covenant right here. Chapter 5, we're down here, 13, verse 13. It says, you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses flavor, how will it be seasoned? There's a lot of different takes on this, but Leviticus 2, verse 13. Your grain offerings shall not be lacking salt. So if he's saying that these people are the salt, there's other people that were the sheep. There's other people that were the wheat, the fruit of the trees. He fulfilled the first part of the harvest, and that was the fruit of the field, the fruit of the flocks. And he brought them as first fruits to the Almighty and sacrificed them up. So if he's saying you are the salt of the earth, he's also offering salt right there. You are the light of the world, a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. A city's full of light, and it's going to shine bright. But Revelation 21, behold, new heavens and new earth. And I saw a city descending out of heaven as a bride prepared for her husband, sitting on a high mountain, a city set on a hill, descending out of heaven upon those people. He is bringing down the wisdom of God to those people and teaching them. So, the symbols are there. Are you receptive to see them? Or did the Father open your eyes? Did he bring you to the Messiah to be taught all these things? There's going to come a time where the mysteries of God are revealed. And that's what I'm saying is going on. People fight over doctrines and denominations and who's right and who's wrong. All of us are wrong. I'm wrong. You're wrong. They're wrong. Everybody's wrong. But the only one that's right is up there. He is sitting right now, just wanting people to stop fighting over who's right and who's wrong, and let him teach you. I mean, I'm false if I'm saying that the new covenant has been set up and you can't receive it. The kingdom is for all who come. But you have to be dressed in the proper wedding garment or you'll be cast back out into outer darkness. Oh, garments, doctrines, understanding. Without the proper understanding, you cannot enter into the kingdom. Revelation 22, verse 14 and 15, blessed are those who keep the commandments of the Most High, that they might have the right to the tree of life. But all things that are abominations and that offend, dogs, idolaters, sexual immoral, the very last one is all who love and believe in a lie. If it is not the truth, the whole truth, any part of it is not true, it is a lie. And Jeremiah 17, verse 5 through 10 says, blessed is who, the man who puts his faith in the Lord. But cursed is the man who leans on his own understanding. Those who put their trust in the Almighty will be like a tree planted by the water, whose branch does not fail, whose leaf does not wither. And that's what I'm saying. Those who stop believing in what the world is teaching them and say, hey, let's separate ourselves to him. Let's obey his commandments. Let's keep the Sabbath. I mean, Isaiah 66, verse 22 and 23, I think. Yeah. It says, as new heavens and new earth, which he shall make, the Sabbath and the new moons will remain forever. I mean, so regardless of what we think, if it's something that's going to remain forever, I think we need to do that. We need to get on that path and absolutely keep his commandments. So let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify the Father in heaven. This is the difficult part. I rejected the law years ago. Then I came back to the law. I tried getting on the Hebrew roots movement. I tried this and that. And all those things were just to show me the different understandings of mankind all around the world. I mean, I looked at different denominations of Christianity. I looked at the different teachings of Judaism and the Hebrew roots and the Samaritans. And so, that's the hardest part. We are supposed to let our light shine before men, that they may see our good works and glorify the Father in heaven. He says, do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy it, but to fulfill it. This is to complete the fullness, the fulfillment of it is the completeness of it. Mankind lacked certain things, and they always failed. They always returned back to their own doctrines and understanding and putting their twist on the law and how they observed the sacrifices and all that stuff. Um, you know, our prayers and praises. I mean, that's like incense sent up to heaven now. So he came to fulfill it all, and he is now sitting in the seat of the high priest. We know that because Aaron washed the feet of the apostles. I mean, of the Levites, just like Jesus. I keep saying Jesus. It's a habit. I say the Messiah for one reason only. Revelation says, um, "To him who overcomes, I will give him a white stone, and write on him a new name." And then he also says that he will write on those who overcome his new name, the name of the holy city, and the name of his God. He's a new name. So, yeah, Yeshua, it's kind of a take on Joshua as we know it. I mean, that's what, the whole understanding of it is. But what can we say about the work of the Messiah? He says, "Do not think that I came to destroy the law, but to order prophets. But I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or tittle will by no means pass away from the law until all is fulfilled, all is completed." So there is a period here. The law of the prophets will not pass away until the fulfillment of them all. And to say that they have not been fulfilled is to say that he did not come and fulfill them before he left. Um, Everybody keeps talking about the resurrections and this and that. I was in the land of the dead, and now I am in the land of the living. That to me is a resurrection. And that's what he's given me to do, is to, did not he even say, when a man told him, you know, give me a moment, I need to go to my house and bury my dead father. And the Messiah's response was, let the dead bury the dead. There weren't zombies walking around. This was him telling them, you are as dead as long as you live in the world. But as soon as you come out of the world and into the new covenant, you become alive. You become of a new understanding. So new heaven and new earth. Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Symbols of the covenant. Heaven is his throne, the ruling authority over over the covenant, and those who subject themselves to the covenant is the footstool. Symbols of the covenant all day long. Well, if I'm saying that a new covenant was put in place, just like Jeremiah 31 says, 31 through 34, and this will be a new covenant, not like the ones given to the fathers that when I took them up by the hand out of Egypt. The covenant that they broke, it will not be like that one. It'll be different. Mankind taught that covenant. This covenant will not be taught by man. No more shall any man teach his neighbor or teach his brother, saying, know the Lord, because they shall all know him, from the least to the greatest. I'm telling you, come and receive this. I'm not teaching my own thing here. I'm telling you what is spoken. Come to the light. He is the living water. come be baptized in his knowledge and understanding. Um, you know, when he baptized people, and John the Baptist baptized people, it was for, the remission of sins under the covenant at the time to be cleansed. This covenant, you need to be washed in spiritual understanding. You need to be washed in wisdom, not water that you can be drowned in. The water that flows from the throne. And no man can actually, defile its purity. I mean, it's all new covenant talk. Anyway, so verse 17 and 18 did not come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it, and nothing will pass away until it is fulfilled. Verse 19, whoever therefore breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches men to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called greatest in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter into the kingdom of heaven. When he says breaking the least of these, what he is about to do is start teaching commandments of the new covenant. While everything before verse 19 was talking about the old, verse 19 and on, it's talking about the things that were coming. That the new covenant is exactly from verse 21 on, the next couple chapters. You have heard that it was said of old, you shall not murder. And whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment. You broke the old law. But now, the new law, but I say whoever is angry with their brother without a cause shall be in danger of that judgment. Remember the new covenant mercy? The old covenant judgment? When you come into the covenant, the new covenant, he keeps you in the way of it. And as long as you remain awake, your salvation cannot dwindle and cannot pass away because you are covered under mercy and not sacrifice. And whoever says to his brother, Raka, will be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring a gift before the altar, remember that your brother has something against you. Leave that gift before the altar and go your way and first be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. You shall be measured by the judgment you measure against others. If you want to be forgiven, forgive all, or anything that is held against you will count against you when you receive the judgment. And if you've been merciful, you will receive the mercy. Agree with your adversary quickly while you are on the way with him, lest the adversary deliver you to the judge, and the judge hands you over to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Assuredly, I say to you that you will by no means get out of there until you have paid the last penny. Well, I'm sure it wasn't penny back then because penny didn't exist. And you have heard it was said of those of old, you shall not commit adultery. Old covenant. But I say to you, the new covenant Whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you to enter into, for one of your members to perish than your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. For it is more profitable for you than one of your members perish, than you to be your whole body be cast into hell. It's wisdom coming for me here. The cooing of a dove. Symbols of heaven. Furthermore, it has been said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give a certificate of divorce. But I say to you, that's old covenant. New covenant, but I say to you, whoever divorces his wife for any reason except for sexual immorality, causes her to sin, or causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a woman who is divorced commits adultery. So, the covenant between man and woman is supposed to be sanctified. I mean, it's supposed to be a covenant for life. You do, if it was put into your heart to marry that woman, it's because God wanted you to do it. I have failed in this, and that's why I need the mercy of the Almighty. Because I divorced my first wife as a young man. I was put in an adverse situation, and I gave up. Flicked my ring into there and walked out. I didn't know how to deal with the situation. We were young, stupid. That was 21 years ago. Now, I fully understand. The one that I'm married to now, you make it work. You do all that you can do to work with that person. They are a partner. They are an equal to you. They are a helper to you. Yeah, you are set as head over the household, but getting bit by an ant. Sorry, sitting out here in the wilderness, you're gonna run into stuff like that sometimes. So, the other part of it is, like I said, the reason that there was such a issue in my first marriage was because others were a part of that. Scripture says that a man should separate himself from his mother and his father and cleave unto his wife, and his wife unto him. I mean, I'm not sure on 100% on the wording, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of similar to how it should be. But you don't cleave under the mother-in-law. Yes, you honor the mother and your father. You take care of those who need to be took care of, but you do not allow other people into your marriage. It's not the way it should be. I apologize. I had to run away from the ants. I was getting bit. But anyway, walking back home. I was out in the pine thicket here. But, it's not about the understanding of man anymore. There's something better. Something that far exceeds. He didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. And as much as he says a new covenant, according to Hebrews 8, verse 13, that the first replaced the law. The new covenant replaced the law. And as the first, the latter has made the first obsolete, it is ready for vanishing away. Exactly what Paul said. Paul was actually speaking about how the old covenant had already become obsolete. But not that the teachings within it are obsolete. They're there for teaching. They're there to bring us back to the path. They are the milk for the nursing babes. Are you born again? Truly? Are you as a little child needing understanding? Need correction? Or are you a full-grown man, firm in your understanding, and do not need anybody else to teach you anything? I'd be pretty scared of that. So, what you have known, you have kept, you have persevered, you have gotten here. All things will remain until the time of the end. Everybody reads that new heaven, new earth, but the first is going to pass away. The first will pass away. Not going to be. I mean, I don't know what's to really come, but I believe it'd be more symbolic than anything. And it's saying that, yeah, maybe all of what you've known is going to come to an end, and all the things that have been happening will be made known, because nothing is lit. No lamp is put under a basket. It's put on a lampstand, and it brings light to all who are in the house. I mean, all of it is prophetic, and all of it has understanding. So, enter in by the gate, not over the wall, that you be found to be made a thief. All of it has to be meaning. Nothing is by chance. He came to fulfill all things. Just as you've heard that Satan would be bound in chains, Jesus said that, the Messiah said that before you rob a man of his things, you must first bind a strong man. We talked about how the ruler of the world was Satan, and all authority has been transferred over to the Messiah. So is that not to say that Satan has already been bound? The book of Enoch talks about the chains of immeasurable weight. A lot of information that people aren't aware of or haven't drew the connection between everything. But that's where we need to be, making those connections, concluding what was actually done, and seeing that all things have been fulfilled as he promised. Talk about the Sabbath, everybody wants to say yes or no or maybe, I don't know. But how else do you say that the intent of man set themselves against the Almighty and decided, you know what, we're going to take the Sabbath and move to the first day, but we're going to say it's innocent. We're going to say that we didn't mean any harm by it, that it was all in good intentions. But then we're going to defile the real seventh day with the name of a false god, an idol. Oh yeah, that tells me that you're real innocent, that you didn't mean any harm by that. The biggest thing is the details. We always told the devil is in the details. That rings true on a lot. Intention is shown by what's there. But anyway, be blessed on the Sabbath day. Hope you guys enjoy yourself, and maybe this word makes sense to a lot of people. and they come to the fullness of the truth and go get it for themselves. Keep your lamps full. The world is indeed dark, even though we're standing out here in the sunlight. The world has been plunged into darkness. But be blessed. Love y'all. Have a great day.